SuperTalk Mississippi media production.
Running a business is tough. If you're struggling with HR, benefits, and payroll, you're not alone. Many businesses just don't have the resources to keep up. That's where MWG Employer Services comes in. We provide a full range of employer services with everything from payroll to benefits to HR services and compliance, and can create a custom plan that fits your needs and budget. We're a Mississippi-based company that can help you focus on what you do best, growing your business. Call MWG Employer Services today at 601-206-7966 or go to MWGEmployerServices.com. You're listening to Sports Talk Mississippi On Demand, presented by Pearl River Resort. Escape to Choctaw, Mississippi and enjoy world-class gaming, the Dancing Rabbit Golf Club, and Geyser Falls Water Park. Escape to Pearl River Resort.
Sports Talk Mississippi is on the air. Sports Talk Mississippi is powered by C-Spire. Power your home or business with C-Spire Fiber. To learn more, visit supertalk.fm/C-Spire. C-Spire Fiber powers SuperTalk Mississippi. To the junction, in the grove, and to the top. This is Sports Talk Mississippi. On your radio and in the game, right here on Super Talk Mississippi.
What's up? Welcome in on this Tuesday afternoon. Sports Talk Mississippi. Michael Borkey and Brian Hadad with you, as we always are, in the Pearl River Resort studio. Regional projections are out. The changes that we talked about, that we expected, did come. And so we will go through those. We will also talk to one of the guys that was involved in making those projections. Mark Etheridge will start the 4 o'clock hour with us, and we will go through that, talk some baseball with him. Got some football stuff that has popped up. Chris Lowe decided to just destroy South Carolina football today. Just wrecked them. And it inspired, though, something in me, so we could talk a little SEC football for the college football fix as well. If you think you have it bad, I know right now in this state, the football fan bases are quite divided on mood. Ole Miss fans pretty jacked up about the current state of their program, and they should be, right? They've done a lot of winning, great quarterback coming back, all that stuff. State fans, less so. You State fans out there will not feel bad about your program when you hear the stat that Chris Lowe put out there about South Carolina. It's brutal. So we'll do all of that and more with you on this Tuesday edition of the show. So glad that you guys are here.
Glad you're here in the Pearl River Resort studios. Pearl River Resort. Guys, I don't know about this weather. I haven't been out in a while. Maybe it's gotten worse. It was a little cloudy, but early this morning, I was like, what month is it? It felt great out there, and I want you guys to take advantage of that with a round of golf at Dancing Rabbit. Geyser Falls going to be opening up soon enough if it hasn't already. They haven't. Pearl River Resort needs to put me on their mailing list so I can get all this information out to you. But live entertainment, great meals, it's all right there for you at Pearl River Resort. C-Spire text line is open to you, 601-879-4395. With C-Spire, it's easier than ever to get all the devices you want in one move with the Ultimate Connect bundle. Right now, new and current customers can get a free phone, watch, and tablet, plus 100 gigs of data for just $90. That includes the new iPhone 17 and Samsung Galaxy S26 for free, and a free smartwatch and tablet to go with it. So don't wait. Yep, there's more to see. There is more that's free. Visit cspire.com or stop by your local C-Spire store today. C-Spire, inspired by you. I am going to be making a trip to my local C-Spire store. It's time. This is an 11.
Yeah, you need an upgrade.
It's time to upgrade.
Although it's going to do the bubble thing on you, the liquid ice thing, and it's the worst.
I don't know what that is.
Oh, it's horrible. It's like the way the apps and everything look and the way they move, and you can't turn it off. You're stuck with it when you get that new phone, and you're going to hate it. Wow. After a few days,
you get used to it.
You get used to it, but you're going to hate it at first.
Yeah, I got to go check that out. I got to go. Yeah. It's time.
And that's not a C-Spire thing. That's an Apple thing. C-Spire has nothing to do with that.
This is the phone that I got when I took this job.
That was so long ago.
In July of 2018.
So long ago.
Like, that was one of the things when I took the job, I was like, hey, can you guys get me a new phone? Because I had an Android, a bad Android at the time, and I was like, you guys want me to do video and stuff like that? They were like, yeah, sure. Good people here at SuperTalk. They were like, yeah, sure, we'll get you a new phone. And I haven't ever asked for another one. And, it's just time now.
tomorrow, just keep this, pun not intended, keep this on your radar tomorrow. There is a real chance that there's a tornado outbreak here in the state of Mississippi tomorrow. This chart that I'm looking at right now, it's a tornado likelihood chart. And it's got a big oval shape that starts in East Texas, through Louisiana, through Mississippi, up through Alabama, into Chattanooga even. Big, long shape. But the level 3 threat on the likelihood, on a scale from 1 to 5, level 3 threat cuts right through the heart of the state of Mississippi. So just be on the lookout tomorrow. Be safe, weather aware, all that good stuff, because there's a chance that we get some nasty weather here in the state tomorrow. We will keep a lookout for you, and all of our shows will, and SuperTalk News and all that stuff. So stay tuned right here. But yeah, just be safe tomorrow, because it looks. I don't know if it's like this in Starkville. You walk outside here, it feels like tornado weather outside. Wind's really blowing, and it's like coming from different directions and stuff. You guys know what I'm talking about. It kind of feels like it outside, and so be safe out there. Also, total non sequitur, but I did a parental rite of passage today.
Oh, did you?
Sitter called in sick. So I had to pick up at school. And of course, I didn't have the number. And even though I know the number, I didn't have the paper number. And so I sit in line and still have to go around anyway, which drives me nuts. It's like, you know me. You know who I am. But anyway, got there an hour early. Because there's no time. I have no time to waste. I have to pick up and then get right here, right?
Right.
I fell asleep in the carpool line.
I've been there. I've done that.
I tilted my seat.
I have gotten the honk. Like, wake up.
I tilted the seat back a little bit. Put on the Shotgun Start podcast, which is a golf podcast.
I figured.
2 golf nerds just talking. And it was probably the best 20 minutes of sleep I've gotten in months. It was amazing. And it's like, God, this is my life now. I can't believe I am the guy that's fallen asleep on purpose. Like, I leaned my seat back. I knew it was coming. On purpose, fell asleep in the carpool line.
Today, I told my new podcast co-host, Carlo Barone, that I should be his emergency contact. Because he was talking, I don't know how we got on the topic. We were doing the rumblings, and he brought up emergency contacts. And I was like...
Because he's not from here.
He mentioned like he had changed from his mom to his brother or something. And I was like, dude... I should be your emergency contact. Your mom lives in Chicago. Like, if you have an emergency, she's not going to be here for hours.
Yeah, she needs to be emergency contact number 2.
I'm like, you need to pick me.
Yeah.
I'll be your emergency contact, and that way if you have a real emergency, I can come help. So we'll see if that happens.
I want to be on people's emergency contact. I mean, I'm already on 2, obviously, but, like, I want to be on another one.
Yeah. Well, you know.
I'm going to start texting my friends like, hey, guys.
I've also had the thing where I've reversed with my mother. I'm now her emergency contact.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, she's no longer my emergency contact. I am her emergency contact. So,
I did get into an argument with a friend recently about being an organ donor. He's not.
Oh, I don't know about that.
Yeah, I was like, what's wrong with you? And he's like, I just don't want them cutting me open. I was like, what do you think's going to happen when you die anyway, brother?
They're going to cut you one way or the other. It's just that they take anything with them.
Yeah, you might as well just do it.
Yeah.
Yeah, hey, Dad, it was like a 30-minute conversation about the fact that he wasn't an organ donor. He was mind blown that I was mind blown that he wasn't an organ donor. But,
it's weird.
Yeah. No, I don't regret the falling asleep, but I do hate the fact that I am at that point in my life where I did that on purpose and I'm okay with it. At one point, I think I was cool. There's nothing cool about me, hey, Dan. That era of my life is over. Yeah. I am not cool.
Well.
And I used to be.
It happens that way, though.
And I say I used to be. I probably never was. But, like, went to Costco on Sunday. Mm-hmm. They had a great deal on some garden herbs. And I got really excited.
Yeah.
And then, like, I saw the price. It was like $11.99 for, like, a 4-pack of, like, rosemary and a tomato plant and peppers and something.
No, I get it, yeah.
And I texted my friends to let them know about the deal.
No, that's a bit much.
I mean, that's,
my friends and I have something
gone.
like that. Whenever Kroger puts, sometimes they'll do like buy 2 get 3 free on 12-pack drinks.
Yeah,
that's the thing in our group text. Like, Kroger's got the buy 2 get 3. You'll see that. Or whenever like there's a good price on pork butts, be like, hey, pork butts $1.99 a pound today. Oh, I'm going to go get a couple. Put them in the freezer. I have one in the freezer right now that's from the last time they were that cheap.
Yeah. Somebody says you do have a cool job, Borkey. That is true. I mean,
you have a cool job.
In what other line of work can you ask the head baseball coach at Ole Miss if he accepts our robot overlords?
You have a cool job. You aren't cool.
Exactly. Decidedly correct.
Yeah.
Somebody says I was never as cool as Justin Bagwell. Yeah, right. I'm still way cooler than that guy.
Than Justin Bagwell?
He's a really good friend of mine.
Okay.
Yeah, but I am decidedly a lot cooler than he is, though. Get that out of here.
Okay, I didn't know.
Do I wear rope hats? Honestly, I don't. I don't like the way they fit my head. I like the hats that are not, like the front of them are not stiff, if that makes sense. I want them to form fit like 360 degrees around my head.
Yeah.
So I can't wear like the flat-fronted hats. I don't like those. But I do like the way they look, but when I put them on me, it's like,
we're having
stupid.
a huge rope hat debate on Thunder and Lightning, so it's just been a thing the past few weeks. We're just trying to get through it, basically.
We will get through the regional projections when we come back. A lot of movement in the regional projections, as we kind of figured. So we will talk about those. And then you got baseball tonight, by the way. So we will talk about that as well when we come back. Sports Talk Mississippi just getting started with you. I'm Michael Borkey alongside the much cooler Brian Hadad. We'll be back from the Pearl River Resort studio in just a bit.
From the Venable Mississippi. Sports Talk Mississippi.
Do you ever get so excited that you just can't wait?
Yes! Sports Talk Mississippi, covering your Mississippi teams.
I've been waiting my whole life for this.
Don't touch that dial! Here on Super Talk Mississippi.
He knows how to tug on my heartstrings.
Yeah?
Little Pearl Jam.
Man, I've been to a lot of concerts in my life. I'm a big live music guy. I like Pearl Jam. They're not like my favorite band, but I like them. A 3-hour show, no breaks, all the hits, sharp.
They're great.
Excellent show. It was so worth it.
I would love to see them. I don't know if I ever will, but I would love
if they ever come close, go. And whatever the cost is, you'll leave the show thinking, at least my one experience seeing them, and you'll leave the show thinking, those dudes cared about putting on a show for us tonight. They were awesome. But so are the regional projections, or maybe not, depending on what your fanhood
I'm excited to read the Baseball America ones to you, because you said you haven't seen them.
I have not seen them yet.
They are fascinating. They've got some interesting matchups in there. So let's just jump right in.
Which one do you want to do first?
We'll do Baseball America first. So
Okay.
I'll read them off here. As you can guess, the UCLA is the number 1 seed overall. Vanderbilt remains in. So we're going to have a situation here with Vanderbilt, Borkey, because they're likely to finish 16 and 14. As we mentioned the other day, 14 has always been the magic number for wins in the SEC. They would have 16. But their projected RPI on that is only 66. So something's got to give. Either we're going to get an at-large with a 66 RPI getting in, or we're going to take the 16-win SEC team. I don't know which one it is. They're paired up with Corvallis, the 16 seed Oregon State, where the number 2 seed is the Ole Miss Rebels.
Nothing says regional quite like Ole Miss go to Corvallis, Oregon.
Gracious.
But I do like that, though.
It's a change of scenery, if nothing else.
No doubt.
Oregon State, Ole Miss, Gonzaga, and Cal Baptist are your Corvallis regional, and the winner would go on to play UCLA.
So I did pull this up. So Baseball America has just been higher on Ole Miss, generally speaking, than D1. But Ole Miss just on the outside looking in as the number 17 overall.
What they're saying is this: if Ole Miss handles their business and wins the games, they'll host.
Yep. And that's a very agreeable statement, right? Win 4 of your next 6,
you host.
You'll host. Win 3 of your next 6, you probably don't, but have an argument, but you probably don't.
Atlanta, Georgia is the 2 seed. That's Georgia Tech. Tennessee is the 3 seed there. They're paired with another Los Angeles regional with Southern Cal. They're the 15 seed. I don't see Southern Cal hosting, if we're being totally honest. They are 0-8 quad 1. They don't have a single quad 1
You can't
win.
host when
You can't
that is
host
your
like
resume.
that. You just can't host like that. So, moving down to the number 3 seed, as you can guess, the Texas Longhorns. They're paired with Florida. Florida hosting. Gainesville, Florida, the 14 seed. Florida, as we mentioned yesterday, more quad 1 wins than anybody, but they also have 5 quad 3, quad 4 losses. So their situation is very similar to Mississippi State 2 years ago. State had a lot of great wins, but also had a lot of bad losses. So it'll be interesting to see how the committee handles that. The 4 seed is Auburn. They are the 4 seed, the Auburn Regional, paired with the Tuscaloosa Regional.
Alabama, a big jumper this weekend.
Yes, they jump big. They're the 13 seed. So it looks like the state of Alabama may get what we've wanted in the state of Mississippi for all these years, but that's where they've got them paired right now. Chapel Hill is the 5 seed. They are the North Carolina Regional. No SEC teams in that regional. That is paired with the Hattiesburg, Mississippi Regional. And somebody get Christian Ostrander on the phone and let him know that the Friends at Baseball America don't have an SEC team in his regional. Southern Miss, Boston College, Miami of Ohio, and Eastern Illinois. First off, I got to say something real quick. That's a really boring regional. Like, Southern should dominate that regional. They should absolutely dominate. There's not an interesting team in there.
If I love our friends at Baseball America, they do great work. If there is an SEC 2 seed out there somewhere,
they will get them.
They're going to go to the Hattiesburg Regional, guys.
Like, right now, I mean, that would probably be Ole Miss if we're being totally honest.
I would bet my car if Ole Miss is a 2 seed and Southern Miss is hosting in the 16 to 14 range, Ole Miss is going to Hattiesburg.
The 6th seed is the Georgia Bulldogs. They are the Athens Regional. That is paired with number 11, Mississippi State, the Starkville Regional. State, the 11th seed, with West Virginia, East Carolina, and Army coming to Duty Noble Field.
Respect the troops.
Oh, well, to a certain extent, they're going to have to not do that on
You
on
can
game
respect
1.
your opponents when you beat them.
Interesting side note here. The 2 seed in Athens is Virginia. So if we're an upset to occur in Athens and State were to get
How
through,
about that? That would be
Virginia would come to Starkville to face Brian O'Connor.
What a storyline that would be.
And that's also the same. I'll just give you a spoiler. That's the same thing that's on the whatchamacallit, the D1 baseball picks with their regional. They're trying to will this into existence. I see what you're doing, Jacob and Kendall. I see what's happening.
So what do you think about that, though? Let's pause there for a second. They should not have gotten punished, but they did not get punished for last week.
Now, if they went up, actually, I think. When I think of West Virginia, the first thing I think of is that they lost 2 weeks ago to Pitt 23-1. I just cannot get that out of my head. So I would like State's chances in that regional. Obviously, East Carolina, they're not as good as they've been, but that's a good year in, year out program. Cliff Godwin's certainly familiar with Mississippi State, so that'd be interesting. The Lawrence, Kansas regional, the likely Big 12 champion, Kansas. They do get the Kentucky Wildcats as the 3 seed in that regional.
Kansas being the 7 is a little wild to me. They're a 14 RPI. Their strength of schedule is 80.
They're going to give them because they're a Power 5, Power 4 champion.
But you don't have to give them the 7 seed.
I agree, but that's where they've got them. They're paired with the Tallahassee regional. Florida State hosting that. Arkansas, the 2 seed in that one. And then the final 2 pairings, Conway, South Carolina, that's Coastal Carolina. They're the 1 seed there. Paired with College Station, the Texas A&M Aggies are the 9 seed in the Baseball America lineup. So, a couple things, like you said, right off the bat. There's no way Hattiesburg isn't getting an SEC team. So the SEC 2 seeds are Ole Miss, Oklahoma, Arkansas. That's it. One of those teams will be in Hattiesburg if this bracket were to hold up. That's the only change I would be willing to guarantee. And likely it would be Ole Miss. In all likelihood, you probably move Oklahoma to Corvallis. You move Arkansas to Los Angeles. You put Boston. Well, Boston College can't be at Tallahassee. I don't know. You figure it out, but I would just be shocked to not see an SEC team in the Hattiesburg Regional.
That's just what they do. And honestly, I mean, we've mentioned it before, but it's a cost-cutting measure.
Yeah,
and they can't do that exclusively. But
I forgot Jake Gautreaux is at East Carolina. He's the hitting coach there, so a lot of Mississippi connections for the Pirates were they to come to Starkville.
Yeah, how about that? All right, so that's Baseball America. D1, a little bit different, but similar in narrative, maybe?
Yeah.
We'll go with that. UCLA, the number 1, Santa Barbara, Kent State, and Niagara in that regional opposite Oregon. So Oregon, although Oregon's the one with the bad RPI, right? Yes, they're 27 in
Oregon
the
is
RPI.
27 in the RPI, but they are 35-12 overall. They don't have a lot. They don't have a great resume. I don't know why they're hosting here, to be honest with you.
You know why. Spread the love.
I mean, I guess, but when we go to the next one, there are Oregon State's there. Between Oregon State and UCLA, you got 2 West Coast regionals. That's plenty.
Yeah. Georgia Tech, the 2 with Jacksonville State, Tennessee, and Fairleigh Dickinson in that regional. That's not a fun regional for the Yellow Jackets. It's tough. Oregon State, the 15 with Nebraska there too, Gonzaga and Eastern Illinois. All right. Georgia, the 3, UCF, Liberty, and Army. Opposite Southern Miss, the 14. So Southern Miss moves up after a good week.
Georgia's going to be an interesting case study. They have them as the 3 seed. They're the likely SEC champion, right? But their RPI is
16.
It's 16. And they play LSU, and I think they finished with Auburn. So they will have some big RPI opportunities that last weekend, but that's a high seed for a lower RPI.
It is. It absolutely is. I assume they're projecting out that they will.
They probably finish 5-1, something like that.
Yeah. Opposite Hattiesburg, Southern Miss, the 14. So again, they move up after a 3-1 week with Ole Miss as the 2. No surprise there. Ole Miss all the way down to 19 overall from D1. So they went from 11 last week to 19 in terms of seeding in the D1 projection. As we talked about yesterday, everybody around Ole Miss except Nebraska had a good week last week. And so that was a really bad time for Ole Miss to have a 1-3 week because everybody else did good things.
Yeah.
And so they didn't free fall necessarily, but that is a huge drop from 1 week to the next to go from 11 to 19 in the seeding.
Big drop. And as you said, a lot of teams behind them and around them had good weeks.
Yep. So. Campbell and San Diego State, the other 2.
San Diego. Drink it in.
We will we'll finish the D1 regional projections, get to some of the games tonight as well when we come back. Sports Talk Mississippi, Pearl River Resort Studio. Don't go anywhere.
From the Seabrook Dike.
I listen to it at work.
Sports Talk Mississippi. Sports Talk Mississippi on SuperTalk Mississippi.
Did you get that memo?
Yes, sir.
Welcome back in Sports Talk Mississippi, wrapping up our conversation about the D1 baseball regional projections. We left off at Georgia being the number 3 overall, opposite Southern Miss, the 14, the Hattiesburg regional with Ole Miss as the 2, Campbell the 3, San Diego State the 4. As we've said before, though, if Southern Miss wants to hang on to this spot, these next 2 weekends, I mean, you really need to win 5 at a minimum. Because, quite simply, unfortunately, just the opponents, they're the 2 worst teams in the Sun Belt. Their RPIs are awful. You can ill afford to lose to these 2 teams. You got to get 1 sweep and 1 series win at a bare minimum in order to keep this spot. Yeah. RPI is great, though, for Southern Miss right now. That is a big help. The non-conference schedule, winning 3 SEC games was a big help for Southern Miss. They're at 11 right now in the RPI with a strength of schedule of 9.
Yeah.
That's huge.
It really is. Yeah. What's hurting Southern Miss right now is, in terms of their seeding, is they have 6 quad 3, quad 4 losses. The problem with that is I think at least 3 of those are conference games, and you can't avoid that, right? You got to play who's in your conference. So they're still in a great spot though. But they do need to 5-1 is the minimum. 4-2, and they will be sweating on Selection Sunday unless they have an incredible run in the Sun Belt tournament.
The next pair up, Texas, the number 4 overall, with Miami, Western Carolina, and Tarleton opposite Florida State. The 13 with Arkansas, their 2, East Carolina, and North Florida. North Carolina, the 5, opposite Florida. Again, Florida, big winner last week. They moved up a ton. They're kind of surging, are the Gators, a little bit. They're the 12 with Wake Forest, TCU, and Bethune-Cookman. That is not an easy regional for the Gators there. Even their 4 seed they got some wins this year, does Bethune-Cookman. So that's a tough one. Auburn, the 6 with Arizona State, UAB, and Maine.
Watch out.
I know, no kidding.
Maine will get you.
Yeah, Jacksonville State in these two. There's really some trauma in these projections.
Yeah.
Opposite Alabama was Southern Cal, the 2, NC State, and Wright State.
Southern Cal as a 2 seed makes a lot more sense to me than does seeing them host. And again, trying to will it into existence, you've got the Auburn, Alabama potential Iron Regional.
Yeah. This is one that you take if you're Mississippi State in blood right now. Cut your hand open, sign it right here. Kansas, the number 7 overall, with Virginia, Missouri State. Now that stinks for Kansas, getting Missouri State as their 3, a team that is currently 23 in the RPI. And Indiana State opposite Mississippi State, the 10. So they moved up, I think, 4 spots in the D1 projections from 14 to 10, with West Virginia, Michigan, and Southeastern Louisiana.
And again, as you mentioned,
sign you up right now.
As you mentioned, Virginia, the 2 seed over in the Kansas Regional. So they are trying to will this into existence. They want that. Good question here before we get to this last regional. Good question here on the C Spire text lines. Let's play hypothetically if Southern Miss loses a series and doesn't host. Can't imagine they'd come to State with them being a higher seed. Where do y'all think Southern Miss would go in that scenario? I think if you look at these regionals, Southern would probably go to Alabama or to Florida.
Yeah.
Makes sense?
Yep.
Like, I don't see them sending them to Florida State.
Although that's on the table, too.
Florida State could be on the table, but Southern Miss at the Tuscaloosa Regional, if they don't host, makes a lot of sense.
Makes a metric ton of sense.
Yeah.
Last one, A&M, the 8 seed, with Oklahoma State, UTSA, and Oral Roberts, opposite Coastal Carolina.
Just flip them.
Yeah. with Oklahoma, the 2, Virginia Tech, and St. John's. The Johnnies.
State was in the regional with St. John's a couple years ago up in Charlottesville and eliminated them. That's a decent baseball program, though. So what stands out here, obviously, like you said, if you're Mississippi State, you're the 10 seed, which means you're on the cusp of being the 8 seed. You've got if you could win this series at Auburn, I think the next projections, if State is 3-1 this week, I think the next projections would have State as like the 8 seed, probably.
Yeah. Yeah.
But if this is where you are, a trip to Lawrence, Kansas, you would feel really good about your chances there, I think.
It really couldn't be more clear for all 3 teams, I think. This is as obvious to me there's no ambiguity. Ole Miss, win 4 of your next 6, you are hosting. If you don't, I know there are some people that think Ole Miss is hosting at 15-15. I will believe that when I see it. Simply call it cynicism or whatever. I've just seen a committee room full of suits do things to. I mean, they don't want to give every host site to an SEC school if they don't have to, and that would be 3 host sites in Mississippi.
Yeah,
they're going to look for a reason not to do that. They are. For Mississippi State, you want to be a national seed. What do you do?
Just win.
Win. Southern Miss, you want to be a host. What do you do?
State has 7 games remaining. If they can be 5-2, they'll certainly be a national seed. If they're 4-3, I think they have a great chance.
Pretty much.
Yeah.
Pretty much. Somebody says Jeremy McClain being on the committee is going to be huge for them. That should help.
Well, he has to recuse himself.
Oh,
don't
yeah,
you know?
he has to recuse himself.
Go sit in the Chamber of Secrets over there.
I do love how they try to, like Bubba Cunningham with North Carolina.
Yeah.
I mean, and they tried to, the funniest part about that, and by the way, I want Jeremy McClain to do what he needs to do to get Southern Miss to host. That's what he should do. Mm-hmm. He's the AD at Southern Miss after all. So that it's not a knock on him. It's just the recusal. Same thing with North Carolina getting into the tournament 2 years ago. They had no business getting in.
Right.
Nobody thought that they deserved to get in.
No.
But their AD was the committee chair. Oh, but had to recuse himself. Yeah, sure. Okay, guys. Yeah. Okay.
We believe that.
Yeah,
we
for
absolutely believe you.
Just like all of Nancy Pelosi's stocks trading is all above board, you know?
Yeah.
There's no insider trading there.
Nothing of the sort.
No, you only have people that have developed apps to track all of her stock trades, and people are getting rich off of that. It's just a coincidence. Her broker is just the most talented person on planet Earth.
He's a prodigy.
He's a prodigy.
Anyway, more on Cross in the morning.
I think that's a very agreeable statement, though. I think everybody, no matter who you are, thinks that there's some shady stuff going on with that one.
Yeah.
But that's what happens in these committee rooms, too, is you've got guys with allegiances. That's why I've argued on this show many times that there should be no sitting AD or president on a single selection committee. None. Yeah. Because they have skin in the game.
So we got a text here on the C Spire text line. Kansas's staff ERA is 5.83, and we've seen State smash terrible pitching stats. State can hit bad pitching. And that seems like a misnomer, right? Like, who doesn't hit bad pitching? There are some teams that don't.
Bad hitting teams don't
hit. If you put State in the Kansas Regional, I think you're going to see some high-scoring games. In the Super Regional, I guess I should say.
This is exciting. The fact that we've got all three that are in this mix.
Think about the last 5 years since Ole Miss won the national title. I mean, you've had Southern Miss hosting, and they've had a lot of great success. But State was close to hosting 2 years ago. Ole Miss did host last year, but of course it didn't end up well for them. This is the first time we've had all three of these teams back in the mix since 2021. So that's great.
It's great, but also, how in the world is that a thing that you can say that is truthful?
Wow.
Oh, well.
It is what it is from that perspective.
As long as things are good now,
what's the super regional pairing most intriguing? I think Auburn, Alabama is obvious, right? But for me, from the D1 perspective, is there an upset in here? I could see Arkansas going to Florida State and winning that and then having to go to Texas. That could be interesting.
It could. Why are ADs allowed on the committees? That's a great question. Because they're the ones that, I guess, decide all of this, so they appoint themselves into...
More or less.
Yeah.
They make their own decisions like that.
Hey, this texter, speaking your language, sends a link and says, this is exciting to me, and it's Phil Mickelson withdrawing from the PGA Championship to let Max Homa get in.
That's great news.
So that's your language right there.
I had not heard that.
Yeah.
Speaking of the PGA, are we allowed to say anything about that?
About what?
About if you're listening, sir, if you're listening, and I hope that you are.
I mean, that's next week.
Let us know if we're allowed to talk about that.
There's no way it's still secret. It's next week.
Sir, please tell us if he may have mentioned it, elsewhere, but we don't know for sure. I don't want to get anybody in trouble. Sir, if you're listening, please alert me that I can talk about that.
I will avoid the featured groups coverage next week at all costs.
Well, we'll see. Yeah, we'll see. We'll see if we can talk about it when we come back.
And of course, Hadad called Aronimink.
Aronimink. That's an Iroquois word for the good land. Oh wait, no, that's Milwaukee. Never mind.
We'll be right back. Sports Talk Mississippi, Pearl River Resort Studio. Mark Etheridge will join us to talk more projections this weekend in baseball and all that stuff to start the 4 o'clock hour. But we'll be right back.
I'm a 6'1", hot look, all-American man.
from the Venable Glass.
Can you feel it? Can you hear it?
Sports Talk Mississippi.
Yeah!
On Super Talk Mississippi.
I have received word that we are okay to talk about it. So, next week, the PGA Championship, if you're watching the coverage on the Worldwide Leader on ESPN, you may hear a familiar voice. Our friend Richard Cross will be among the many commentators on the call.
For featured groups.
So, you're sitting there and you're like, I don't know what it is about this commentator's voice that makes me want to talk about tariffs, but this is happening right now. That's why. It's you're just preconditioned with Richard's voice to, think about Mississippi politics or something. So, yes, congrats to our buddy Richard. Very excited for him. I know this is something he has got to be thrilled. This would be very similar to me getting to be on the call for the hot dog eating contest. It's a lifelong passion, if you will.
A very well-deserved thing for him, too. He won't because he's a pro. I'm going to put on feature groups just to hear him after a commercial break. Welcome them back to Mornings with Richard Cross.
Yeah.
He never would, but God, that would make me laugh so hard.
Is Peter Alice still alive? I just want to hear Peter Alice say, "We go now to Richard Cross on the 13th." I just want to hear that.
So the only downside to a really cool honor is they're actually not sending him there. The featured groups, they do it out of the
he said
studio.
He told us he talked to somebody who had done the PGA tournament in the past on site, and he said the guy told him I was on the course for 5 minutes, got there, got to look around, and then we were in a booth a mile away the rest of the time. So It's really not that big a deal. The big deal is getting to be a part of one of the golf majors, and like I said for Richard, who is a golf nut and easily the best golfer of the three of us.
Well,
right,
that's not true. At all.
I want to see how quickly you were. See, sometimes I don't think Borkey's listening to me. That right then he was listening. He heard that.
Oh man, no, that'll be cool. They don't know. So somebody asked, what group, so I can watch. They have not actually announced the pairings at all, let alone the featured group. So he doesn't know quite yet.
Yeah.
But, I mean, you hope he gets the Scheffler or McIlroy draw or DeChambeau. I mean, there's so many options that he could get here. You hope it's one of those, obviously. Because, just simply put, more people would be watching.
Yeah.
Except for me.
Right.
Yeah. No,
you'll be watching.
No,
you'll be locked in.
I will pull up this feature group and I'll put it on the whole time, man. And the main feed also. What you learn when you watch golf is, especially in the majors, if you watch every shot of one player through a screen, when you're there it's different, but through a screen, and let's say Scotty shoots 70, it's really boring.
Oh, yeah, I imagine. Yeah, because you're watching 70 strokes.
And
you're not just watching, we go now to the 13th hole where so-and-so has a shot for birdie, and you're watching a guy play around. Think about it like this. It's one thing if you're out there with your friends, you're having a few beers, you're cracking jokes and all that.
Walking on a nice day, whatever.
If you were just you're just going to walk with Michael Borkey as he plays around the golf. You're not allowed to speak. You just have to watch him play golf. You can't comment. You're not nothing.
Yeah.
That's what you're doing.
Pretty much. But yeah, Arana Mink, which is in Newtown Square, Pennsylvania.
Arana
Mink. ARONIMINK. Arana Mink.
I had to look it up here. It is derived from the Lenape Native American language, commonly interpreted to mean place of water or by the beaver dam. This is a golf course that probably costs a few $1,000s, 5 figures to be a member of every year, and it's the By the Beaver Dam golf course. I want that on a shirt. I just want a shirt that's got a little symbol on it. It just says By the Beaver Dam. Oh, you're in Aronimink?
Yeah.
Yeah. I speak Lenape. Thank you.
Let's see. Hey, Dad, it's a private club.
Yeah, I'm sure it is.
Initiation fees start. Just to join the club before you pay a due or anything, $65,000. And that's not even that expensive for the super high-end ones. But
there's more to it. Hold on. The name is sometimes cited in local history to explain the origins of the land, specifically referencing a Lenape village known as Aronimink, or where the fish cease.
So the fish graveyard.
$65,000 to be at the fish graveyard. God, I love this country. What could be better than that? They'll play at 18 this week at the fish graveyard. You in? Oh, you mean by the beaver dam? Yeah, let's go. I'm in.
And that was talking golf on Sports Talk.
If every golf segment was like this, I would be a lot more into it, I promise.
We'll be back with Mark Etheridge to start the next hour after the news. Stick with us.
Is Sports Talk Mississippi, right here on Super Talk Mississippi.
Welcome back, Sports Talk Mississippi. Hour number 2 already. I'm Michael Borkey. He's Brian Hadad. We go to the Farm Bureau guest line. Check out favorites.com and go with the home team, Mississippi Farm Bureau. D1 Baseball's Mark Etheridge joins us again, and fresh off of the regional projections getting released. And Mark, we'll start there if you don't mind. We appreciate your time. Ole Miss, a big dropper after a 1-3 week. They go from 11 in D1's projections all the way down to 19 as a seed. I mean, they went 1-3, so this is kind of an obvious question, but why were they such a big dropper, and what do you think their path to hosting is?
Yeah, Sunday hurt. I mean, they had the lead in the 9th inning, and, Arkansas gets a walk-off homer. And what that does is it brings them back down to 500 in the league, and with the path that they have, Texas A&M and at Alabama, we did not think they would win both of those series. And if they finish 15-15 in the conference, no SEC team has ever hosted with a 500 or below record, and until it happens, I think we're going to take the safe pick and project that they would not host. Now, the different part of this is the league schedules have never been more imbalanced. You don't play everybody. They didn't play South Carolina or Missouri, so certainly that's a factor. And perhaps if they finish strong and even at 15-15 they won a couple games in Hoover, then that changes the math and we'll reevaluate. But yeah, that's really what it came down to for us. We just didn't feel like the committee would reward a team that finished 500 in this league with a host.
And I mean, you've covered this intimately for a long time. I have had the position that 15-15 won't get it done either, and in part because that would be 3 host sites for the state of Mississippi possibly. And I mean, it's a committee room full of suits, and they don't want to give the SEC extra host sites unless they kind of have to. And so, like you said, nobody's done it before. I would think they'd be looking for reasons not to award one as opposed to actually awarding one, if that makes sense. Do you agree?
Yeah, there could be something to that. Certainly, if Ole Miss would have won that Sunday game, we would have projected 3. So that's how narrow the margin is for Ole Miss right now. And I do think that at one point, regional hosts were awarded to teams that based on how big your stadium was and what your host package bid was, and that has really changed. Now it's about the top 16, but that 16, especially when you get down to the last couple of spots, there's really no wrong answer typically. There's several right ones, and you got to pick the most right. And I do think that there's definitely some SEC fatigue. There's some there's also some some narratives out there that the SEC isn't as strong this year as it was last year. And in last year's postseason, the SEC had a rough regional round. So I think all of those things are kind of pieces of the puzzle. None of them carry the whole story by themselves, but when you put them together, I do think that Ole Miss is going to have a hard time hosting at 15-15 without some serious damage in Hoover.
Let's talk about Southern Mississippi. You've got them as the 14 seed, paired with the Athens Regional, the 3 seed. Ole Miss headed to Hattiesburg in your projection year. Southern Miss has 2 series left against, I believe, 160 and 210 in the RPI. Yep. Is it enough just to win those series? If they go 4-2 in the next 6, are they still hosting?
Yeah, that would be pushing it. I think 5-1 is probably a safer bet. The other thing to consider there is, last year Southern Miss had that long winning streak to finish the regular season and carried it into Montgomery, and the RPI actually fell to 19 playing some of those games. I do think that the difference between last year's Southern Miss case and this one is what they did in the early conference, in the pre-conference time, with splitting with State, splitting with Ole Miss, winning the game over Alabama, winning a series over Santa Barbara, who we've got as a 2 seed, going to Texas for that tournament where they swept it and played well. All of that together is more than what Southern Miss had last year, and I do think that if it's close, the committee typically rewards teams that go out and challenge themselves in non-conference, especially if you're not part of the power conference group. You need to demonstrate your ability to play with those teams at the top of the sport, and that's what Southern Miss did. And I think because of that, they'll get the benefit of the doubt where some other teams that didn't do that, they might not.
In Starkville, you've got the Starkville Regional set up with Mississippi State as the number 10 seed, paired with the Lawrence, Kansas Regional. I think Mississippi State fans looking at this would take that as we sit here today. But a big series with Auburn this weekend. If State wins this series with Auburn and then, let's just say, goes on the road and gets a win next weekend against Texas A&M, loses the series but doesn't get swept, 3-3 in the final 6 games, is that enough to bump them into the left side of the bracket as maybe the 8 seed?
Yeah, they'd be really close. You wouldn't control your own destiny with that. I think you win them both, and you take away the question. I think if you split the 6, then it's going to depend on what other teams do as well. And some of the other clubs in that range. I mean, A&M's in that range. Coastal Carolina could get there if they continue to play well. Getting Cam Flukie back, I think, is going to play a factor in their evaluation. What if Florida goes on a run? They've got a really good RPI, the most Q1 wins of anybody. Alabama even could get there if they finish super strong. So it's not just about what you do, unless you just you kick the door down, right? And if that's the case, then Mississippi State, they'll easily be a top 8, because I think the eye test is going to help them. I think we all kind of feel that this is a really good team. The RPI, that a couple weeks ago when we didn't have them hosting, the RPI was the problem. Now it's not. It's in a suitable range. I think it's there. I mean, certainly after the first inning Sunday, it looked like Mississippi State was going to win the Texas series, right? The off to just a tremendous start, and it didn't end that way. But I do like the club, and going to Texas is tough, right? A lot of clubs are going to lose going to Austin, and I feel like with what Mississippi State's got left, again, Auburn's playing great. A&M is arguably the best lineup in the country. them in Georgia Tech and Georgia. I mean, it's a challenging next 2 weeks. But the flip side of that is it's an opportunity. And, right, if you weren't playing those teams, you might not be able to crack the top 8, but you are. And I don't think that Mississippi State would fall out of the 16. I mean, maybe if you lose out or something crazy. But it does give you the opportunity playing these teams to force your way in and take it out of the committee's hands.
One question I have, something's going to have to give with Vanderbilt. Now, you currently have them as one of the 4 to watch, so sort of the second 4 out, however you want to put it. They're currently 71 in the RPI. They're 10-14 in the SEC. Their last 6 games are Missouri and South Carolina. So there's a pretty good chance they're going to finish 16-14. If they could finish, even worse, maybe 15-15. I don't believe a 15-win SEC team has ever been left out of the NCAA tournament. But at the same time, their RPI probably isn't going to go up much higher than 62, 63, something like that. What's going to give for Vanderbilt? If they win out, do they get in or are they going to be left out?
If you go back far enough with a 500 record that didn't get in, they all had RPI problems like Vanderbilt has. And I think the question that's going to be, what happens if Vanderbilt, say they go 5-1, which is probably about what I would expect. It's going to be hard to sweep both those clubs.
Right.
And they get to 15-15, and the RPI is, say, 65, 60 even. SEC teams don't get in with a 60. And considering the conference record, not that it's tainted, kind of like what we talked about with Ole Miss, but who you played. They would have played LSU in addition to Ole Miss and Mississippi State, the bottom 3 teams. And then they also played, Kentucky and Tennessee, who are also near the bottom. Their intra-conference strength of schedule, which is something that we have to pay attention to now because now it matters because you don't play everybody. That will work against them. And I think all of those things together was a reason why we just didn't feel like that the committee would have them in unless they go on a run. Say they do sweep all 6 and their RPI gets in the 50s. We didn't project that, but if it did, and then they go to Hoover, and Tim Corbin's teams typically play well there.
Yeah.
Then it could get really interesting, and then I think they could absolutely play their way in. They wouldn't need to win the automatic. They just need to hang around for a couple days.
Mark Etheridge, D1 baseball man. Always appreciate your time. We'll talk to you again soon.
You got it. See you soon.
Mark joins us on the Farm Bureau guest line. Check out favorites.com and go with the home team. We'll talk more about that when we get back here on Sports Talk Mississippi.
From the Venable Sports Talk Mississippi is brought to you by Covington County Hospital in Collins, where your health matters.
Hey guys, what's happening? What the heck are you doing?
Sports Talk Mississippi on your radio and in the game. Sports Talk Mississippi.
Sports Talk Mississippi. Brian Hadad and Michael Borkey with you on a Tuesday. Right now you can own the John Deere compact tractor you've always wanted. And you do want one because it's grass growing season, which means it's grass mowing season. And the best place to get one right now is at Ag Up Equipment. They've got 0% financing on all 1 through 4 series models. You just got to visit agup.com to learn more. Some restrictions do apply. And right now, if you swing by your local Ag Up dealer, or if you come by Ag Up in Hattiesburg a week from today and come meet me and Michael Borkey while we're there.
We'll be there.
Visiting there. We'll be there. Just get a quote on a new John Deere tractor, and they're going to enter you in a drawing to win a new John Deere generator and a pressure washer. We hope to see you 3 to 6, May 12th at Ag Up in Hattiesburg, 7000 U.S. Highway 49. But check out your local Ag Up or visit agup.com to find out more about these great deals on John Deere tractors. Great text here from the C-Spire text line. This person has a graphic of what the NCAA tournament would be if they seeded it exclusively by RPI. And when I tell you that the UCLA hosting Georgia Super Regional would be an absolute bloodbath, that would be incredible. Hattiesburg hosting would be at North Carolina. Southern Miss would be at North Carolina, and that's our texter here. Team terms that the "We Hate Larry Fedora Bowl." I like that. In this situation, Mississippi State would be paired with Texas A&M as the 8 and the 9. Ole Miss would host and would be paired with the Auburn Regional. Ole Miss would get Virginia, which would be really funny, right? And then Virginia Tech. I mean, come on. And so hold on. We're getting Virginia versus Virginia Tech in the Oxford Regional, okay? And then San Diego State there. State would have Boston College, East Carolina, and Rider. Interesting way to look at it.
Yeah, that would be. Is that the best way to do it, where there is no human element? It's all computer. The computer decides, and that's it. No committee room, no closed-door conversations, nothing.
Well, yes, that would probably be the best way. You do have to take into account that there are probably going to be some upsets along the way, in conference tournaments and everything like that. But I guess you just recalibrate, right? You're like, okay, this team has to be in. Basically, they'd be the 4 seed at UCLA. If like a 175 RPI team won their conference tournament, they're the 4 seed at UCLA, and you just got to go from there. So yeah, I mean, it wouldn't be honestly, right now, if you're a fan of the state of Mississippi, you're obviously going to take this. You've got 3 regionals. You've got State at 9, you've got Southern Miss at 11, and Ole Miss at 13. But that being said, come on, UCLA hosting Georgia in the Super Regional, yeah, that could easily be the national championship game.
Be fun.
Yeah. It'll be a great national championship game.
Your buddy Ross Dellinger.
I saw him 2 weeks ago.
The college football coaches, according to sources, have voted in favor of the 24-team playoff. The American Football Coaches Association voted last week to recommend that leaders in college football, this does not mean that they don't decide, but they have come together to recommend this to their ADs and presidents. So that's a very important distinction. This is not a decision, but this is the coaches coming out in support of the, quote, maximum number of participants, which is 24, discontinue the conference championship games, preserve Army-Navy exclusive time window, but not day. Have other games on that day, but Army-Navy still exists on its own at 3 o'clock Eastern on CBS, which I love. Thank you, coaches. I appreciate you wanting to do that. That game needs to stand on its own for a lot of reasons. And then they want the playoff to end by the second week of January. So the last two, good suggestions. The first one, though, in their annual meeting, the Board of Trustees discussed and adopted the recommendations. Craig Bohl is the chair of the committee. They're going to publicly release that decision soon. They are supporting a 24-team playoff and, again, eliminating the conference championship games. Of note on the board that made this vote, Brett Bielema, Brent Venables, Clark Lee, Rhett Lashley, Joey McGuire, he's at Texas Tech, Pat Fitzgerald of now Michigan State, all of them on the board. It's the latest group to express support, publicly or privately, for an expansion of the playoff. It is a divisive topic, as you can imagine. The 10 FBS conference commissioners and the AD at Notre Dame, because, yes, Greg Sankey has given the commissioner of Notre Dame a seat at the table right next to him, where he has 16 teams under his authority, and the Notre Dame AD has 1. But anyway, they met 2 weeks ago, didn't come to a final conclusion. The Big Ten and the SEC have to decide. I think that everybody should see right through this. This is job preservation. That's what this is, and nothing more. They don't think this is what's best for the game. They don't think that this is what college football needs. This is what they think they need to keep their cushy $10 million a year jobs. And Ari Wasserman pointed out correctly, they're dumb for thinking that. You think that the AD at Texas is going to let Texas be the 18 seed and lose in the second round and call that a successful season? You think that the AD at LSU is going to let Lane Kiffin be a 20 seed and turn around and call that a successful season? No. Nope. That's all job preservation is all this is. But it doesn't mean that they're right. All this is doing is making the playoff less meaningful for you.
We all, somewhere from the C-Spire text line, we all thought Leach was dumb. Well, I didn't think he was dumb. When he said we were going to go to 64 teams, we all laughed. I didn't think he was dumb. I thought he might have been ahead of his time, to be honest with you. But he's correct. He also says Army-Navy should be 3:30 on Thanksgiving. I like the idea of that, but there's no way they're going to make Army-Navy compete with the Dallas Cowboys.
Yeah, no
0% chance of that happening.
I love where your head's at, though. Because if the NFL...
You're on the right idea.
If the NFL didn't exist that day, the rating for Army-Navy at 3 o'clock on Thanksgiving...
Could you do it on Black Friday? Put the Egg Bowl in the morning, Texas
But the
A&M
problem
that
with
night?
that is that's when they are playing Week 12 of AAC play.
Ah, okay.
Because their game is extra.
Yeah. I don't know then. But I will say, you're correct. The guy, his idea is in the right place. His head's in the right spot.
So he says, no, the conference championship. Can we go back to claiming hypothetical championships? No, what they would do is they would just do tiebreakers, is what they would do. Whoever had the best record.
Which is difficult when you don't play everybody.
You don't play everybody now, but at least the balanced schedule in the SEC moving forward makes like the seventh tiebreaker of far less likely possibility, if that makes sense.
Yeah.
But man, I hate this. And isn't this where we're headed?
Feels like it.
I don't know why it's
Did you see this
so
article
hard for
from
people
Stuart
to put their
Mandel
foot
about
down.
that?
Yeah, where 9% of fans polled want it.
Yeah. Big Ten fans specifically.
And it's their AD that's
and it's
pushing
their AD
this,
who's the one who's
or
pushing
commissioner.
It. Yeah, it's like their commissioner. Like, and Sankey, and this is why I'm just going to tell you, like, when we go to media days, you're handling the Sankey interview. I got no patience for this. I can't sit there with all this and not just ask him, like, why don't you give a care? Why don't you care about this sport? Why don't you listen to your fans? I can't do it. I'm just telling you now, that's going to be a 20-minute interview that you're going to have to handle. I can't do it. I can't put myself through it. I won't.
Because the answer
I'll get
is
us in trouble. I'll get us in trouble. I don't want to do that.
The answer is it's not a consideration at all.
Mm-hmm.
Nobody that consumes the sport wants this.
Right.
Nobody. The only people that want it are the ADs.
The ones who can make more money off of it.
That want to cover their ridiculous spending, and the coaches that want to save their jobs. That is it. The only people that want this are them. Gosh, I hate where this is headed. 601-879-4395, the C Spire text line. We'll be back in just a minute.
From the Seabrook Dock.
Let's go. To the junction, in the Grove, and to the top.
Don't hurt yourself.
Sports Talk Mississippi.
On SuperTalk Mississippi.
Hey, mama said the way you move gonna make you sweat, gonna make you groove. I wish you that thing gonna make
saw. I actually read your rundown.
Oh, how about that?
You gonna play your Bob Costas clip?
I will. Yeah.
I laughed pretty hard.
It's unbelievable.
That's one you don't expect from Bob Costas.
No, not at all. Tyler says having a playoff appearance on a resume, that means a lot less when there's 24 of them.
Right.
Just thinking about the debates over the 24th spot, deciding 23 to 25 will be splitting hairs, can of worms. And at that point, I will be completely disinterested in the debate there. You can debate 11, 12, 13, 14. You can debate that. That's a worthwhile debate to have. Notre Dame could have won playoff games this year. Absolutely, they could have. They were left out, rightfully so, but they were good enough to win a playoff game. Who is the 25th ranked team in the final college football playoff rankings?
Well, what I want to do is look at it like this. Let's look at the AP poll, just because it makes a little bit more sense, right? TCU was 25th in the AP poll this past year. Is this the final poll?
Yeah, that might be the final poll after the
final
bowl game.
poll. So let me see if I can find week 16. Yeah. All right, so Missouri was 25th. But that's, if we're talking about, and Georgia Tech was 24th. But we would also be talking about the teams receiving votes at this point. Those teams for this particular...
Was Iowa one at 8-4?
Houston, Iowa, Tennessee were all... Then you have a big drop to New Mexico, right? So the top three vote getters were Houston, Iowa, and Tennessee.
So we'd be debating whether or not 8-4 Iowa would belong in the college football playoff.
Yeah.
I'm out. Not even having that debate. Current playoff scenarios interest me. Interest the heck out of me. Love them. That one, don't care.
Yeah.
I really don't care.
And as I said, I am a hypocrite because if this was the case, I'll watch every minute of every game as much as I possibly can. But it's definitely, not great. I mean, if I'm getting 1 through 24, I mean, you get some decent matchups there. Indiana and Georgia Tech, it's a decent matchup. Indiana would probably demolish them, but, it is what it is. But then you get North Texas against Georgia. I mean...
And even if the games themselves
Georgia
end up
plus
being
31
okay,
and a half, or minus 31 and a half there.
But even if the games themselves end up being okay,
yeah,
there are empty weeks in the regular season.
There are.
Completely empty. Like, college game day is going to Iowa City where the 8-3 Hawkeyes have a chance to make the playoff. What do we...
Well, and Dwight says it here. Like, so if State or Ole Miss is 8-4, you're not interested in the conversation? Come on. You're not wrong. Again, there's a hypocrisy level. If State or Ole Miss are if the Egg Bowl is between two 7-4 teams and the winner is going to finish 22nd in the country and the loser is going to be out, yeah, there's a lot riding on.
There's things to talk about, but remember 2024? We were not interested in hearing the Ole Miss belongs in the playoff conversation after the Egg Bowl.
Yeah.
We talked about it, but it was... the beauty of all of our shows is they all get recorded and posted online, so you can go back and find the conversations if you'd like. We were not having what Lane Kiffin was trying to sell about this team deserves to make the playoff, SEC, most difficult conference, spot the ball, all that crap. We were not having it on this show. Myself included. The Rebel Bear Shark Homer over here had no interest in Ole Miss making the playoff in 24. They didn't deserve it. They lost to Kentucky, they lost to LSU, and they played a fifth-string wide receiver at running back in their loss to Florida. They had no business making the playoff that year, and we didn't talk about it as if they did. At no point did we argue they belong in the playoff on this show. Never happened.
Right.
So, and that was a 12-team playoff.
Yeah.
And we didn't buy into that conversation. So... 24 team, I mean, yeah, sure, we'll discuss it, but we're not going to be super jacked up about, well, maybe they should.
But it's at the same time, let's just say State or Ole Miss is the 23rd team, right? Let's just say that in this particular poll, for whatever reason, Mississippi State is 23rd. And they're playing Georgia. Well, Georgia beat the hell out of Mississippi State. That's not a good example. But if they were playing like Texas Tech or something, and they won, all of a sudden it turns into, oh, wait, State's in the second round?
Sure.
We would be there's going look, the nature of our job means we have to have some hypocrisy about this. We're going to watch the games, we're going to enjoy the games, and if our teams are in these games, we will give them the coverage that they deserve. It's just like anything else though. If the NFL moved to a 16-team per side playoff and the Saints had got in last year, I would have been like, eh.
Yeah, the NFL expanded the playoffs. I don't like it, but if the Saints make the playoff as the last team, I'm going to be like, hell yeah, Tyler Shuck, let's go. Did you see Alvin Kamara's interview yesterday, by the way?
No, but I need to watch it, I guess.
It's really good. He is not bothered at all about Travis Etienne joining the team. In fact, he was like, Mark Ingram did it to me when I came up. We were boys. I can't wait to play next to this guy. It's like, yes. The vibes are so back, but... Would
the top 8 not get a bye? I don't know.
They shouldn't.
I don't know how they would. I don't know what the bracket would look like.
Would it just be 12 games?
You would think.
They haven't even explored what that would look like. How do you award the byes? Because the coaches want the conference championships to go away, and they will if we expand to 24. So how do you determine the byes? I guess rankings, exclusively rankings, no conference championship to help determine that? Maybe.
I don't know. Yeah, I don't know how they would do it.
Probably byes. I would guess that would be your reward. But also, you going to do the thing that they're complaining about right now, too, is... Well, I didn't get a game on campus. Take Georgia last year. Ole Miss beat Georgia in the Sugar Bowl, right? So Ole Miss had the better season. Ole Miss was better than Georgia last year. But Georgia had the better regular season. What are you smirking at? Is it that?
No.
I was like, I don't know. We could debate that all day. Ole Miss was better than Georgia last year.
I texted my daughter to tell her to, hey, call my mom and tell her this. And she called me. And I was like, that's why I was like. And then she immediately texted me, sorry, didn't mean to call you. Yes, I know that. Yeah, no.
But Georgia had the better regular season, and they didn't get the home game. And that's
got to be. I wish there was a fan representation, because I would if I was the delegate, I'd be like, if we're going to 24, that's fine. All of these games up until the semifinals are home games.
You've got to be rewarded for having a better regular season.
We can't just do all these neutral sites and all this. We're not doing that. The first 3 rounds are home games, and then semifinals would be 2 of the bowl games. And look, you just have to figure it out. And this goes back to what I've talked about, and we had that guy who got really, really upset about it. But like, you just tell him like, hey, this year the Chick-fil-A Peach Bowl is being held in Baton Rouge.
Exactly.
It's at Tiger Stadium. You just put the name on it. You put the graphics on the field. You put the patch on the jerseys. It's the Peach Bowl. It's just being played in Tiger Stadium. It's just being played at the Horseshoe. It's just being played wherever. That's the Peach Bowl this year. And if the Chick-fil-A people, who, by the way, if they're getting so upset because they got to move, it's in Atlanta. It's not like they're getting a big trip out of it. They're all in Atlanta anyway.
Exactly.
But that's what you just tell them, like, hey, this is what we're doing now. The All-State Sugar Bowl, this year the All-State Sugar Bowl is being played in Ann Arbor.
And, we're going to pull out. Oh, you are? Oh, you don't want 25 million people to watch this game?
And that would be gone in about 5 seconds.
Yep.
It would literally be like, hey, the Sugar Bowl advertising is open, and then it'd be like, 10 people swiping right on Tinder all at once.
The ad agencies would not jump on that fast enough.
Like the commissions would feed families, literally.
Exactly. You're exactly. And all we hear, hey, Dad, from the suits is excuses.
Wow.
About all of this. Oh, we need Congress. Oh, we need this. Oh, what about the bowl games? What about the Rose Bowl? None of us care.
We don't care.
None of us care.
The Rose Bowl can still have its parade even if the game is not in Pasadena. You can still have the parade.
Yes.
There's no law that says you have to have the parade, then the game. Just have the parade.
Ole Miss fans had a blast at the Sugar Bowl last year. think they would have had more fun if that game was in Oxford.
Well, I mean, or if it had been in Athens, they would have just been like, what the hell, we're going to Athens again. They didn't care. They just wanted to be in the college football playoff.
If the NFL, with their $12 billion a year, plays games in home stadiums until the Super Bowl, and they brought up playing the conference championships at a neutral site, and somehow, some way, everybody involved was like, no, absolutely not. It was shut down rather quickly. But if they can do it, so can we in the college football level. Just tell the suits no. It's really not hard. They're not going to. Allstate is not going to pull out of the Sugar Bowl if it happens in Athens.
And
they're not going to.
And if they do, State Farm will take their spot real quick.
We'll be right back. Sports Talk Mississippi.
And the Venable
The sports. This is Sports Talk Mississippi.
Sounds good. On Super Talk Mississippi.
I can't believe this is real. This is Bob Costas on a call. I don't know what year this is. It's not recent. I did not know that this was a thing. Cubs Cardinals, and Bob Costas had something to say about a pitcher as he was walking off the mound when he got replaced in the bottom of the 8th inning of a tie game.
Is on his way in. Strope is on his way out, pointing toward the heavens. We can only ask or wonder that he is asking some departed relative for forgiveness for this atrocious performance.
I'm sorry, Grandma. That's a tough one. Costas is the last guy I would expect, though.
Did he have like $6,000 on that game or something?
I think only Jim Nance is the only one I would be even more surprised by if he said that. I don't know, Jim. His grandmother can't be very proud of him.
I mean, he had money on that game, right? That's the only way that you as an announcer go that hard into a pitcher as he's getting taken off the field.
Well, I need to know, what was the game? I need to know how that picture, maybe I can find it. Like, I need to know what.
Cubs Cardinals, Bob Costas rips pitcher. I'm sure that would help you.
So, it was a blown save. Okay. Came into the bottom of the 8th with a 2-1 lead, gave up 2 hits, a hit by pitch, a walk, and only retired 1 batter. I mean, that's not great.
But that's not like.
One of them was a home run, too. So
that happens. That happens sometimes.
Apparently, it didn't. That happened. It just set him off. So
it set him off because he had $10,000 on that game.
He had $10,000 on the game. We didn't know at the time. Who is Nance the most unlikely? Like
I'd be shocked beyond measure if Jim Nance did.
I could see Joe Buck saying that.
Yeah, because he did when Randy Moss fake mooned the crowd.
Yeah,
that was the most disgusting thing I've ever seen on a football field.
Yeah, he's come back and said that was a bad idea.
It's like, Joe, guys have had their legs snapped in half on football fields, and a fake mooning is the most disgusting.
What are we doing here? But, yeah, Nance would be the one that if he said it, I would just be like, wait a minute, what? Imagine Harry Carey said, hi!
Remember when he did the basketball tournament, he would give his tie to a player?
Yeah, that's great.
Like, how many of those players walked off the court was like,
what the heck is that? I'm sure a few of them got it, though.
Only a few.
Yeah.
It's like, who's this old guy giving me his tie? I don't want this thing.
He walks off the mound and points to the sky. He's probably praying for his relatives to forgive him for this terrible performance. He's made me drink 3 ice-cold Budweisers in 1 inning.
I need to get you on the call with me for some high school football this year.
Can I do Harry Carey the whole time?
The whole time.
You got to pick like what impressions I have to do. I can do that one. I can do Peter Griffin in Cleveland from Family Guy.
I say mix it up.
Yeah, we can throw Trump in there.
Especially
we can.
Because this team at times will
People have been asking for my Gus Johnson for you, by the way. When I did Gus Johnson the other day, I've had like 4 or 5 people be like, "You need to break Gus Johnson out more often." So,
do it.
You just be like, "Pedro Strop, young fella. Oh, yeah. Your grandmother's not proud of you today. Oh."
Bob Uecker would say it. Somebody says,
"Yeah." Bob Uecker
would have done something.
Uecker would have been like, he would have said a little bit more than that.
Funny part about Uecker in Major League is he was himself.
Yeah, I got to bring Mullen in. Mullen, Coach, I hear you're here to scout one of the players. Oh, well, I hear that they got great players here at Hartfield. Really great program. They understand what it means to strain. To give full effort, give championship effort. 365 days a year. That's why they're champions. That's why we're one of the best programs in the country. And that's why I'm here.
Yeah, I need you to come down and do a couple calls.
And I'm Coach O. Does he make an appearance?
Because they will win some games this year, 42-0 or whatever. I mean, they're good like that. So
I was so mad earlier this week, or a couple weeks ago when we did the Starkville Derby. I had the list of all the dogs and their owners' names, but we weren't on the air when this particular heat aired. But one of the dogs, their owner's last name was Orgeron, and I was like, "Oh, you don't think, do you?" And I was like, I had it planned. I was just going to be like, "Here comes my dog. Here it comes. I wanted to name him Go Tigers, but I thought that was a bad name for a dog. Here he comes. Every day I give him a full thing of puppy chow and 3 Red Bulls. That's why he's a good racer. Go Tigers."
Heck yeah.
We can do it all. I'll need some throat lozenges for all these. Some of those things take a toll on me.
Robert says he heard Andrew Dice Clay for a second there.
With who? With Orgeron?
With you, apparently.
Little Boy Blue. No, never mind.
There's only so much Dice Clay that we can
there is. That was the extent of it. In the marinara sauce. I can't go. You can only tell the punchlines. You can't actually tell the joke. Oh!
Oh, man. Hour 2 in the books. After the news, we'll do a college football fix. We're going to talk about the bottom of the SEC. And with a little twist. We will do that when we come back. So glad that you guys are with us. Also, hopefully we have time. I think we will. ESPN ranked the off-seasons for teams in the SEC. Who had the best off-season, 1 through 16? We'll tell you where they had Ole Miss and State. We'll do that as well in the next hour.
Take the friggin' wax out of your ears. Did you hear me?
This is Sports Talk. Mississippi.
Woo! I say, sports fans.
Now, here's more on Super Talk Mississippi.
Welcome back, Sports Talk Mississippi, Hour 3. It's been a fast show. Hope you guys have enjoyed it. I'm Michael Borkey. He's Brian Hadad. And hey, it's the start of the 5 o'clock hour. You know what time it is.
It's the college football fix, driven by your Mississippi Ford dealers. Built Ford tough. Our teams here in the state of Mississippi sure are. That means you should be driving a truck that supports them, that acts like them, that drives like them. If you're looking for a great new truck, there's only one place to visit. Your Mississippi Ford dealers today. Thank you for your attention to this matter.
All right, I was inspired by this stat from Chris Lowe. If you feel down about your college football program, it could be worse. You could be South Carolina. 8 times ever in the history of South Carolina football have they won more than 8 games in a season. 8 times ever. Joe Morrison won 10 in 1984. Great year that none of us remember. Lou Holtz won 9 in 2001, but that has a bowl game attached to it. Will Muschamp won 9 in 2017. That also has a bowl game attached to it. Mm-hmm. Spurrier did it a couple of times. 3 times.
I'm about to say, yeah. Connor Shaw, maybe the most underrated player in SEC history.
So Spurrier had 9 in 2010 and 11 in 11, 12, and 13.
Yeah,
and then Shane Beamer won 9 in 2024. That is the illustrious history of South Carolina football, winning more than 8 games in a season.
Yeah.
Oh.
So from a Mississippi State perspective, let me just look here. So State won 9 games in 2022. They won 8 games in 2018, 9 in 2017, 9 in 2015, 10 in 2014. 2012 they won 8. 2010 they won 9. I mean, we're basically already ahead. 2007 they won 8. 2000 they won 8. 1999 they won 10. 98 they won 8. 94 they won 8. And then we're getting into, got to go back to the early 80s. 81 and 80 they won 8 and 9. So I mean, yeah, much more. Now I'm sure surely Vanderbilt's is worse, right?
Got to be.
Yeah.
But that sparked a thought. You look at the bottom of the SEC last season. Mm-hmm. Look at the 6 teams at the bottom of the SEC that won 2 conference games or fewer a season ago. They were Kentucky, Florida, Auburn, Mississippi State, the aforementioned Gamecocks, and Arkansas. Which of those do you think are most likely to finish in the top 6 of the SEC this season?
Feels like Florida's the easy answer. Good coach. I'm a buyer of John Sumrall. Brought in a good offensive coordinator. Brought in the quarterback to run that offense. It feels like all the pieces are in place. I feel like Napier left him a pretty talented team. Like recruiting really wasn't Florida's biggest issue over the past few years. Florida just feels like the easy answer. Not that Florida's schedule is easy by any stretch of the imagination. It is going to be a tough one, but I mean, let's look at it right here. The first 2 games are really easy, non-conference games, but then it's at Auburn, host Ole Miss, at Missouri, host South Carolina, at Texas, Georgia game, Oklahoma at home, at Kentucky, host Vandy, at Florida State. You could find 8 wins in there. If you told me they won all 3 of their non-conference and they beat Vanderbilt, Kentucky, South Carolina, well, there's 6. And so can they get 2 more out of the other 6 games? Yeah, they could do that and finish, 5-4, 4-4 in the conference, something like that.
I saw a clip
5, I guess.
Going around from the SEC Mike guy and had the guy that now works for the station in Matt Moscona in Baton Rouge. Not Matt Moscona, but the guy that works for him. And they brought up Summerall in Florida, and Mike Bratton was like, I think Summerall can win a national championship at Florida.
Sure.
And his guest goes, in football? And then he was like, are you kidding me? No. It's like John Summerall's been a head coach for 4 years.
And Florida's a program.
All 4 seasons he's played for the conference championship.
And Florida's a program where you can win national titles. It's like if John Summerall was the head coach of Mississippi State and you wanted to say that, I would be like, I don't know. But if he's the head coach of Florida, Florida can win national titles.
I mean, I get it's May and you've got to be a takesman, but John Summerall's won 11 games in 3 of his 4 seasons as head coach. Yeah. The other one was 9. Again, he has been to the conference championship in every season he's been a head coach.
Yeah.
And you look at him and scoff at the idea of him winning a title.
Yeah.
That dude is built for that. It may not work out. It may not.
But he's a good coach. There's nothing.
But he's built for that.
And look, I'll be completely honest. There was nothing on paper that said Napier wasn't going to work out. Napier won a lot of games at Louisiana, and he was a good coach until he wasn't. But everything looks on paper like Florida should take a big step forward in year 1. They should be one of the, again, they're not going to win the national title. They're not going to probably go to the college football playoff. But they should be good enough that you're looking ahead to year 2 and saying, okay, next year Florida's back in the mix as one of the top programs in the SEC. Should be that way.
Should. Tyler says South Carolina had the misfortune of their best season and arguably best team ever being in the same year as Cam Newton. Yeah. Mm-hmm. South Carolina was really good that year. And then Cam Newton did his thing.
He did. Yeah, that was a good South Carolina team that won the East, but they were not in Auburn's league. There was a time where the West was just so much better than the East year in, year out. And then which is when they first went to the SEC championship game, the East was better. Florida was the top dog, and then Tennessee was great for a few years. And then it flipped, and it was Alabama and then Auburn and so on and so forth.
Well, we got this message, and we've gotten similar things like this before. But it says, is Mississippi State not even pursuing Kirk Cignetti over Lebby, one of the all-time worst decisions by the administration?
Well, I mean, every team in the country missed on that one.
Well, and Cignetti took over a James Madison program that was already winning, right? He had only been there, I say only, I mean 5 years, and he was really good. Yeah. But when that cycle happened, not a single person suggested him. We talked coaching search every day for weeks, and I don't remember a single person bringing up him.
Yeah.
So I mean, you're right. Like, he got hired in that cycle, and he's been awesome. And so, yes, you can say, well, they should have hired that guy because they could have hired that guy. It'd be different, though, if it was like Cignetti wanted that job.
Yeah.
And you gave it to Lebby anyway, and not Indiana hired this guy in the same cycle, and he ended up working out. Therefore, Zach Selman's a bum.
Yeah, everybody missed on Cignetti. He's just an outlier. He's a you just don't expect what he's done. So I see what you're coming from, but at the same time, like you can't. I'm not going to put that on Selman for just. It's not like he missed out on this obvious thing.
Sumrall is a more fair comparison. Now, there was, the rumor is, I believe you believe it to be true, Hadad, that he was asking for specific things that if you're State, you probably can't. And not I'm not talking about money, nothing like that. Some contract language.
Basically some escape clauses in his contract that if other jobs were to open up, that he could leave without penalty.
One in particular.
And State was not willing to do that, and that's absolutely acceptable. There were, if you want to make the comment that State should have hired a sitting head coach, an experienced head coach instead of a first-time head coach, I can absolutely get on board with that. But I'm not going to just sit here and say, well, they should have just hired Cignetti. Because I can guarantee you, I don't know what the results would have been the last 2 years. I think State would be better than they've been, no doubt about it. I don't think State would have won a national title. But I can guarantee that if they had hired Kurt Cignetti, I would have been besieged by people slamming that hire in November of 2023.
Yeah, who is this guy?
He's old, so on and so forth. Yeah,
James Madison was already good when he got there, and those kind of things.
Yeah.
I think you could argue, in hindsight, that State should have gone ahead and given Summerall whatever he asked for.
Mm-hmm.
But that's with the benefit of hindsight. Because at the time, I mean, let's just be transparent. Having a coach leave you after 1 year for Kentucky, that's a tough PR pill to swallow.
It would have been, yeah. So you just move,
You just hope Lebby.
You hope Lebby works out.
Yeah.
And if he doesn't, you're going to be doing it again. And I think if we get to November of this year and they're doing it again, you have to bring in a head coach. You can't learn on the job anymore.
Nope.
It just has to be come in immediately. And this is the new era of college football. The first question in the interview is, how many of your players are you bringing with you? And if it's less than 10, I got to move on to the next guy.
I mean,
we got to get your players in here.
Sometimes retreads don't work, et cetera, et cetera. My first phone call is Dan Mullen. It really
would be for mine, too.
If he has the same kind of season this year, yeah, it's my first call. Sports Talk Mississippi, that's your college football fix, driven by Ford. We'll be back.
From the Venable Glass
to Sports Talk Mississippi.
Are you ready?
On the SuperTalk app, supertalk.fm, and always on your local SuperTalk Mississippi station.
Somebody says Coach Prime back in the SIP. There is, I mean, it's fascinating.
I'll become an LSU fan at that point.
But the attention that he got, I know the easy answer is, well, they stopped winning, but still, the media just abandoned Colorado. I'm out.
If he had won last year, they would still be there. But I think they saw that, he had.
They see it for what it is.
Say what you want about him. Shedeur Sanders is an NFL quarterback. He's playing in the NFL. He's good enough. And he had the Heisman Trophy winner. And look, the recruitment of Travis Hunter is an awesome story, getting him to convincing a kid who could have literally gone anywhere to come to Jackson State. Fantastic story. But once those two guys gone, you have to be able to recruit. And it's not just about the transfer portal. You do have to build some sort of foundation with your high school guys and do a little bit more. And he just didn't do it.
Didn't do it at all.
Yeah. So this year, if he's good again this year, they'll come back to him. But if he's not, they won't.
Simple as that. Somebody says, "Wow, sounds like you guys are throwing Lebby completely under the bus. He has improved over the 2 years he's been there. Yeah, but he's won 7 games in 2 years.
If he'd won 17 games, we wouldn't be having this discussion.
He's won 7 games in 2 years in the portal era.
Yeah, and he's going to be. I mean, the over/under on wins for him this year is 4.5. I mean, it's not like everybody's looking at Mississippi State as this team that's going to take this huge step forward. And yes, I understand that last year they probably should have won more games than they did, but they didn't.
In the SEC, you're going to play close games. The difference is the better coach teams win them.
Right. And so, if Lebby had pulled it out against Florida, against Tennessee, against Texas, we're having a totally different discussion. We're talking about Mississippi State this year with Kamario Taylor probably being in the playoff discussion. If State had won 8 games last year, we are 100% saying this is a team that's ready to take another step forward, and they're probably going to win 10 games this year. Yeah, they might lose to Alabama, they might lose to LSU, but that's it. Instead, he went 5-8, and that's just where you are.
And in a home Egg Bowl in I know Ole Miss was really good, but at a home Egg Bowl in year 2, you got smoked.
Yeah.
And that matters. And then you go to this bowl game that you didn't necessarily earn because you didn't win 6 games, and you get beat by Wake Forest.
You got beat badly because you couldn't stop anybody. And yes, you made the right choices. You got an experienced defensive coordinator in there, but that's something you should have done in year 1. And Jeff Lebby should have been smart enough to know that. Like, I am a first-time head coach. I need to surround myself with experienced guys on the defensive side of the ball so I don't have to worry about it. And instead, he brought in a guy who had never done it before. And you see the results.
Yeah. And that doesn't mean he's going to fail this year.
You got to look at it from this perspective.
But the first 2 years are concerning also.
You just got to look at it from this perspective. The person who sent this is probably a State fan, right? So just take the names off of everything. And I just said, hey, Coach X is 7-17 in his first 2 years. He went 2-10. He went 5-8. He's won 1 conference game in 2 seasons. Is this coach on the hot seat?
Yes.
Yes. The answer is always going to be yes.
Yeah, and that's the job you take, by the way, when you take an SEC job. And in this era, I mean, it's not totally fair because circumstances are different and stuff, but the aforementioned Kirk Cignetti has really changed the way a lot of people are going to look at their own jobs. Because, by the way, it's not like Indiana gave him $1 billion the way Texas Tech has a billionaire backing them. Good on them. But Joey McGuire changed the circumstances at Texas Tech in part because he had a billionaire backing him. That's not what happened with Cignetti.
Right.
He's got money now.
He's got money now, but
he didn't when he started.
He brought in his guys. And then that's what and nowadays when you hire a head coach, part of the plan has to be who are you bringing from your previous stop, and if you like it or don't like it, that's just the way that it is right this second. Cignetti, and I've said it before and I'll say it again. Cignetti won a national championship in 2 seasons at a program that was worse than Mississippi State. Indiana historically is a worse program than
one of the worst programs in college football.
It is not unfair for me to say, okay, if he can do that in 2 years, in 3 years at Mississippi State, Jeff Lebby should be able to win 8 games. Not asking for a national title, not asking to be in the playoff, not even asking to really be in the playoff picture. Can you be a top 25 team and find a way to go 8-4 in year 3 when there's another coach who came into a worse situation and in 2 years went 16-0 and won the national title?
Yeah. There it is. Simply put. Speaking of, ESPN ranked the off-seasons of SEC teams, the offseason. So not how good the team is, how good they did this offseason with adding and subtracting players, coaches, etc. They had Arkansas at 16, Mississippi State at 15. Here's what they said. The biggest coaching move Jeff Lebby made was, he said, Virginia Tech is not the only team rehiring its former coach as defensive coordinator. Zach Arnett, who coached the Bulldogs in 23, obviously, to oversee the defense this fall after analyst stops at Ole Miss and Florida State. Team also hired former Tulsa coach Philip Montgomery, who served as Virginia Tech's interim coach after Pry's firing last fall. A lot of parallels there. It's really interesting. As wide receivers coach and associate head coach for offense, Matt Brock, who worked alongside Arnett at Mississippi State, is back as co-defensive coordinator. All objectively good things. Any thoughts there, though, on that paragraph?
The paragraph itself is fine. Nothing wrong with it.
And the good additions. I mean, those guys should help this program. Mm-hmm. Montgomery's really experienced, been a head coach. Zach Arnett has done it where he currently is, which is important too. Mm-hmm. What went wrong? Mississippi State took positive steps in year 2 under Jeff Lebby, improving its win total after finishing 2-10. But any further progress the Bulldogs make in 26 will have to be built on a fresh foundation. Blake Shapen, who started the program's first 11 games last fall, is gone too. So are running backs Devon Booth, receiver Brennan Thompson, and 3 starters along the offensive line. There are key contributors to replace on defense as well, with Mitchell and safeties Jaron Manning and Lanier as well. The program's 3 leading tacklers from a year ago and defensive tackle transfer Kendrick Bingley-Jones among the most significant departures.
I would not refer to Kendrick Bingley-Jones as a significant departure. That's just me. Yes, your 3 leading tacklers are gone, but, I mean, we're talking about Nick Mitchell. You know, I feel like defensively State's going to be better defensively this year, A, because Arnett is there. But B, that they have more talent. The guys that they lost, there weren't any big losses, I don't think. Yeah, Jaron Manning and Brian Lanier are good safeties, but State's fine at the safety position. They brought in some good talent there. I disagree with some of that. And then the other one that stands out is Shapen. Like, by the end, Shapen was a detriment, and everybody was ready to move on to Kamario Taylor. So yes, he's inexperienced, but I think he's a world more talented.
And then finally, what went right? Kamario Taylor has recovered from end-of-season ankle surgery, and the Bulldogs have high expectations for his first season as a full-time starter. So it wasn't a significant surgery, right? I mean, no. he went through spring,
cleanup,
so
yeah.
Retaining rushing yards leader Fluff Bothwell and top pass catcher Anthony Evans represented 2 other crucial offseason moves, and Johnson's arrival from Missouri fills the downfield playmaking role Thompson excelled in last fall. 8 newcomers on the offensive line arrived to overhaul a unit that allowed an SEC worst 45 sacks in 2025.
Really bad.
That number is still staggering. Womack, a 4-star in-state safety, and 6 transfers along the secondary bring fresh energy to a defense that returns all SEC cornerback Kelly Jones and 20-game starter and senior safety Isaac Smith, and the linebacker duo of Tyler Lockhart and Zachary Tillman. That is what went right this offseason, they say.
There's a lot in there that I agree with. Yeah, I mean, Bothwell and Evans coming back. I'm interested to see Marquise Johnson and see how he looks. I think State's second best receiver might be a guy who was already on the roster in San Francisco, McGee. The O-line, they do have to look at that overhaul, but the defensive side of the ball, I think they're more talented, and I think they'll be better coached. And not really a transfer, but getting Will Whitson back, assuming if he can be healthy this year, I think he can be a real difference maker for State.
Number 15 ranked offseason, though. So, I mean, it's a pretty 30,000-foot view. This whole article is. We'll get to Ole Miss after the break, and you'll see a very similar thing where, like with Bingley Jones, well, they lost that player, therefore that's a bad loss. They do the same thing with Daugherty. It's like, Did you watch him play? Are you sure that you want to call that a big loss? Similar stuff. But as we mentioned a second ago, I mean, that's going to be the conversation this offseason around Mississippi State nationally. There is not a lot of expectations, and Jeff Lebby he's tasked with proving basically everybody wrong about it.
Yeah.
You know what helps?
Wins.
Quality quarterback play.
Yeah, should have that. We'll see.
And there's a real chance that you've got that. So we'll see. All right, we'll get to the Ole Miss half of that on the other side of this break. Sports Talk Mississippi. Stick with us.
From the Seabrook SuperTalk Mississippi. Introducing to you Sports Talk Mississippi.
Welcome back, Sports Talk Mississippi. Borkey and Hadad with you. We're looking at ESPN's ranking of the off-seasons in the SEC. Mississippi State was number 15, Ole Miss number 3. Here is biggest coaching move. They say Pete Golding retained several key assistants from Lane Kiffin's staff, including Joe Judge and defensive coordinator Brian Brown, who was previously co-DC and now what?
Isn't the biggest coaching move that Lane Kiffin left and Pete Golding took over?
So my assumption is
that's the biggest coaching move, isn't it?
But what they mean is the biggest decisions that the head coach made.
I guess.
When reading through all of this, that was what it was. It was the biggest moves that the coach made.
Okay.
Not the biggest coaching move necessarily, if that makes sense. But yeah,
but
your point is correct.
But LSU, the first thing they say is biggest coaching move. Perhaps you heard that LSU is now LSU's coach. Lane Kiffin is now LSU's coach.
Yeah.
I don't know what to say.
Especially with the Bingley Jones thing. You'll hear it again here in a second. Okay. Very 30,000-foot view of all of this. Yeah. His group of outside hires include John David Baker, obviously the offensive coordinator, Marcus Woodson. He's got a co-DC title, but as we know, it's Pete Golding's defense.
Right.
And Frank Wilson, who took the reverse Kiffin path and went from LSU to Ole Miss and will coach running backs. Yeah, I mean, the staff appears to be a good one. I mean, it looks good on paper. A lot of experience. You've got multiple former head coaches on this staff. The recruiting staff looks good and all that. We just got to see it in action first. But on paper, you look at it and you like it. Like the process of it makes sense. Like John David Baker, as I've said before, if he was the tight ends coach at Ole Miss and he just got elevated, we'd be having a different conversation this offseason about the offense. It's like a guy that's never done it before. And giving him the reins to Trinidad? I don't know about that. But him going out on his own for 2 years, running great offense under a defensive-minded head coach, and then coming back, changes that talking point a little bit. If he was like Kiffin's co-OC or Weiss's co-OC, I would be concerned. Less concerned because he's done it on his own for multiple years somewhere else also. But we'll see.
We will see.
All right, what went wrong? Ole Miss lost a lot of talent from a roster that came within a few plays of reaching the national title game. Sacks leader Uman Mielen, tackle machine Daughtery, breakout freshman receiver Winston Watkins, and offensive lineman Devin Harper all followed Kiffin to LSU. So, let me finish the whole paragraph, actually. With those moves, additional portal exits, and NFL draft departures, the Rebels are down 5 of their top 7 pass catchers from a year ago, including Stribling and Harrison Wallace. They also are missing 7 players who started 8+ games on the defense last fall. Baker has big shoes to fill, taking over for Charlie Weiss, who coordinated back-to-back top 10 scoring offenses at Ole Miss before joining Kiffin at LSU. So there's a lot of truth to that. I mean, Uman Mielen was a good player last year. Objective fact. Daughtery was a tackles machine exclusively because of the volume of snaps that he played. Mm-hmm. People are sharing the screenshots of PFF's linebacker grades in the SEC last year. He's at the bottom. Having a large number of tackles is fine unless they're 5 to 10 yards downfield. He was really helpful in getting guys lined up and stuff like that, but in terms of like the quality of linebacker play, they've probably really upgraded talent-wise. from a season ago. That linebacker room was not good last year. Not just Daugherty. The room itself was not a good one. Andrew Jones got good late, but he wasn't an every down linebacker anyway. I think he was a step slow. In run defense, he was pretty good, though. But it wasn't a good linebacker room last year at all. There's a reason they spent what they spent to get what they got this year, as opposed to last year they had kind of a budget linebacker room. Financially. They didn't spend on it the way they spent on this one. Devin Harper didn't start. Winston Watkins didn't start.
But you know Watkins was a good player.
Watkins has a chance to be quite good. I think Harper would have played on this year's team. He's probably not going to play much at LSU. They recruited over him.
They did. I mean, that's where Jordan Seaton ended up.
They recruited over him, and I have a feeling there's some buyer's remorse from him on that. Because he was told things that did not come to fruition in order to get him to go.
Yeah.
And then they go get Seaton, and it's like, you're not going to play. Sorry. Anyway. But, fair. I mean, we've talked about that before. There's a lot of new. But there's always new in today's college football.
Yeah.
But with a new coach comes new. What went right? Trinidad Chambliss returns as one of the SEC's top quarterbacks, and the Rebels added potential successor in Auburn transfer Deuce Knight. Some filler there. Despite some high-profile departures, the Rebels were still broadly successful on the retention front. Kejuan Lacey, Bryson Sanders, Will Eccles, and Terrion Perkins all back. A few programs retooled on defense more aggressively than the Rebels. Maldonado from Nevada, the edge, is one of 5 defensive line additions. Transfers Luke Farrelly and Thomas from Baylor joined Perkins to form one of the SEC's most formidable linebacker core. Ole Miss also beefed up its secondary with transfer cornerbacks Jay Crawford and Sharif Denson from Auburn and Florida, respectively. Safeties Jonel Aguero and Edwin Joseph also in that room. Yes, they spent more on defense. This is just, they just did. Spent more on defense in this portal cycle than last portal cycle. Mm-hmm. They had more funds allocated to that side of the ball, it appears. And they didn't have to go discount on linebacker and safety in particular. Mm-hmm. Edwin Joseph could have gone anywhere in the country. Jay Crawford could have gone anywhere in the country.
Yeah.
You had to step up financially to get those guys. Last year, I don't think those guys are coming to Ole Miss.
So here's what I will say about this, and I guess I don't understand the thought process behind the article itself, because yes, Ole Miss from a player and personnel standpoint had a fantastic offseason. All right, they kept most of their big pieces. They lost a few, but they kept the big ones. They went out in the portal. They were aggressive again. They got good players. On paper, this is a really, really talented roster. But I just don't see how you can be have the third best offseason when you lost your head coach and you replaced him with a guy that, yes, he had a great run in the playoff. No one's going to take that away from him. He's an inexperienced head coach. I don't see how you have the third best offseason when you do that.
Yeah,
I'm not understanding the premise of the article. Because, based off of that, who does he have? He has Texas as the number one. Texas added some great players. How can you say they had a better offseason than LSU that went out and got a great coach from one of their rivals, and then went out and had the number one transfer portal class? How did Texas have a better offseason than them? That doesn't make
Eli
any sense.
Letterman, Max Olson, and Adam Rittenberg all come because they did every conference.
Yeah, look. Eli's a friend of mine. I've talked to Max Rittenberg before, but I just don't understand the thought process there on that one. Where you losing your head coach should have you down the road, unless you fired him and replaced him with a guy that everybody likes. But that's not what happened at Ole Miss.
Yeah, that's you're right.
And again, from a player personnel standpoint, I've said it before. If Kiffin were still the head coach of this team,
be a top 10, 5-ish team.
They might be the favorite to win the SEC.
There's a real chance they would have been.
They would have been the favorite to win the SEC, now that I think about it. Just that alone look, I'm not saying that they need to be 16th, guys. I want to make that really clear. I'm not saying that State had a better offseason.
And all of the other stuff,
but like
they did really well.
6th or 7th, something like that would have made more sense to me. Okay. Calm down there. We're trying to get that one out of there.
I'm glad you said that before my 6-year-old left the building.
Oh, he would have lost his mind.
Or after your 6-year-old left the building.
Yeah. So, yeah, I mean, just let me look at I guess if I'm looking at everything here, Texas did have a really good run. I mean, they picked up the best receiver out of the portal. They had a good portal class. LSU would be my clear number one for the best offseason. Who do they have at 4th? Georgia. It's kind of interesting with Georgia, right? Like, they don't do much in the portal. So they added a few good players, but they don't do a whole ton. A&M, I mean, I feel like A&M should be docked because they kept Marcel Reed. That should have moved on there. I don't know. I don't know exactly, how I would have ranked it. I just feel like replacing Kiffin should be a point against you for having a great offseason.
It's fair.
Yeah. Levitt is not as good at as Chambliss. I agree with that. I agree with that statement.
Yes.
But that doesn't mean that they didn't put tremendous talent around him and put a good offensive line in front of him.
Yeah, so there's no excuses for them to not go 11-1 and make the playoff and win the
Kiffin
SEC.
did not leave in the offseason. Okay. All right, let's calm down.
That is true. He did not leave in the offseason. He didn't.
Let's calm down.
He didn't.
All right. I think you and I both know.
Hey, the semantics game point ESPN on this one.
Well, I mean, at that point, like how many of these transfers committed while the season was still going on? I mean, we could go deep with it.
Well,
if
not
really
publicly though. Kiffin publicly left before the season was over.
Yeah.
There it is. That semantics.
And it says it could be that the Texas head coach is rated higher with a returning better team than LSU's head coach and returning players. That wouldn't be the offseason, though. That would just be the rankings.
Of which Texas is ahead of LSU.
Texas is ahead of LSU. That's perfectly fair.
We'll be back just a minute.
From the
Mississippi continues.
We got the super rare Taco Tuesday / Cinco de Mayo happening today.
What a crossover!
It's definitely Taco Tuesday in the Hadad household tonight when I get home.
What kind of tacos?
Steak and chicken
combined in the same taco.
You want now? Well, I mean, if you want to, but I mean, I've got enough tortillas that you can just make your own.
Yeah, you should mix them. Why not?
Well, I mean, I
get crazy with it.
I might do that. I'm pretty OCD when I go and get fajitas. I don't mix. I got to do a shrimp one, then a chicken one, then a steak one. So, got some onions and peppers, got some cheese, got some limes, got some plenty of hot sauce. Should be fun.
Should be really fun.
You going to frequent your? I mean, the fact that it's Taco Tuesday.
Honestly, I wasn't planning on it because I'd be afraid of the crowd.
I got to think Taco Tuesday and Cinco de Mayo. It's gonna be a madhouse at wherever you go. I may. Oh, by the way, we've talked about this before. Talk about how territorial Mexican restaurants are. My daughter wanted me to go try this new one that's across the street from our neighborhood. It's pretty good. I might be on the verge of a change. I don't know. We'll see. I'll update you. Shred your own cheese or buy it shredded. Larry, I thought you knew me, buddy. I thought you've listened to the things I've said on this show. I buy my own cheese. I shred my own cheese. I would never buy the pre-shredded, covered in cellulose cheese. Just disgusting. How dare you, sir? I would never, I always shred my own cheese. Shredded a whole pound of mozzarella on Sunday for the baked ziti.
A whole pound?
Yeah, put a whole pound over the top. Yeah, 2 pounds of pasta and a pound of cheese. I mean, there's 3 pounds of meat in that sauce. Why not? Yeah.
Do you see where Brian Kelly's kid is on the Ole Miss staff now?
Really?
Yeah, Patrick Kelly. He's going to be the assistant something or other to something. Assistant Director of Football Support. What does that do? I don't know. But he was on staff, obviously, under his dad at LSU last year after he played there, right? Or is that a different Kelly? Anyway, it doesn't matter. He was the football support and operations coordinator in 2025 under his dad. And now he is the Assistant Director of Football Support. As far as I know, it could be go get Pete his coffee. I have no idea what that position does or why it's necessary, but that is Brian Kelly's son on Pete Golding's staff at Ole Miss.
The connections between Ole Miss and LSU they're just never ending. It really is kind of interesting to see all the back and forth. I mean, you've got guys. Frank Wilson, as you mentioned, is at Ole Miss. Kevin Smith at LSU.
The GM, Austin Thomas. Yeah.
Did Austin Thomas come back?
Yeah.
Ole Miss. He's back there, and of course, LSU has got Billy Glasscock. He's there. So I mean, just a lot of stuff. A lot of taking the road back and forth. It's weird. That's why this game on September the 19th, we need to have. You know what we need? You know what I'm going to tell you? We need a countdown clock. We need a countdown clock on the screen with us.
But Pete will get mad. We got to focus on Louisville.
No. We don't have
to focus on anything.
I want a countdown clock. We can get that sponsor, too. Reach out to me, Hadad at SuperTalk.fm, and the countdown clock to Ole Miss LSU. To Kiffin-Geddon. Kiffin-Geddon is a great name, by the way.
I am begging
Arma-laden?
Begging people to not throw stuff onto the field.
You can beg all you want, buddy.
Please don't.
I just go ahead and tell you.
I'm
just trying to tell you.
That is what that clown wants. That is the one thing that he wants above all else. He doesn't even. He wants to win the game less than he wants stuff to get thrown at him.
He's going to get that.
That's what he wants. If you made him pick, Lane, what is the first thing that you want that day? It's I want the game to get paused because people are throwing stuff at me.
I just want you to go ahead.
It'll anger me.
No, you need to go ahead and start accepting the fact that it's going to happen. All right? Just accept it.
No, it can't happen.
But it's going to. Look, I have been at Ole Miss games where things have been thrown on the field before, right? And there was a lot less heat than there is for this one. Okay?
Keep your beer in your hand.
I mean, you tell them to do that. They do that at the baseball games all the time. They're throwing all over the place.
That's celebratory, and that's on themselves.
Oh, they're going to celebrate this, too. It's going to be a celebration, all right. Just brace yourself.
That is the one thing that he wants above all else is to, in the post-game press conference,
Dan in Hattiesburg. Yep. You're correct. Dan in Hattiesburg. You want to read what he says on the C Spire text line? Don't read it out loud. But you're correct, Dan. You're correct.
We got to go. We'll see you tomorrow at 3 o'clock. You guys have a good night. Talk to you then.
Oh, it's incredible!
A SuperTalk Mississippi media production.